In the dead of night, when the world sleeps, shadows come alive with whispers of the unknown. These are the stories that linger in the dark, tales of fear, mystery, and the unexplainable.
Jason cautiously navigated the bumpy dirt road leading away from the farm, the skies above a bleak tapestry of gray clouds mirroring the heaviness in his heart. Alongside him were Mark and Jamie, each of them sharing in the urgency of their mission to return to CDC headquarters in Atlanta. The winding distance from Chattahoochee Hills felt long, especially with danger lurking at every turn. The truck rattled against the unpaved terrain. Mark, his brow furrowed with concern, was scanning the surroundings while Jamie clutched a small backpack filled with their limited supplies. Having spent the last few days holed up in that isolation, they all desperately needed to find safety and certainty again. As Jason drove, he recalled the previous night's events. The farm had provided temporary refuge, but it had left them vulnerable with supplies dwindling and the scent of the infected creeping closer. He could feel the tension in the truck, the unspoken weight of hard choices and sacrifices hanging heavily in the air. Mark broke the silence, glancing back at Jamie. "You think we'll make it back in one piece?" he asked, an edge of worry in his voice. "We have to," Jason replied, determination stealing his resolve. "The CDC is our best shot at finding help and keeping you safe." The closer they got to the city, the more chaotic things would become. Jason pulled onto a more traversable road, his eyes flickering between the rearview mirror and the rough path ahead. Atlanta had its share of dangers, and every mile brought potential threats looming in the shadows. Suddenly, a grinding engine noise caught his attention. Peering out, he noticed an armed group ahead, scavenging through an abandoned vehicle. Panic set in as Jason's instincts kicked in, urging him to keep moving. He knew they had to avoid confrontation at all costs. Turning to Mark and Jamie, he said, "Keep your heads down, we need to get around them." Mark nodded, gripping the door handle, while Jamie's eyes widened with fear. "What if they see us?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "We'll be fine. Just stay quiet," Jason urged, his heart racing as he felt the weight of responsibility for both of them. As the truck rattled forward, he maneuvered around the group, glancing backward to ensure they hadn't drawn attention. The distance grew between them, but the echoes of chaos lingered in Jason's mind. Approaching the city limits, the familiar skyline loomed in the distance, yet the chaos below transformed that familiarity into something foreboding. The streets that had once buzzed with life now resembled a battlefield, littered with debris and barricades that told stories of panic and loss. "We have to find a way in," Jason muttered, his grip tightening on the steering wheel. He knew the closer they got to the CDC, the more dangerous the streets would become. He turned onto a side road, navigating the fringes to avoid larger groups of infected. Each turn brought them nearer to difficult decisions that would test their resolve. As dusk settled, shadows deepened and Jason parked the truck a safe distance from the CDC. "We'll need to be stealthy," he instructed, glancing at Mark and Jamie. "Stay close to me, and no loud noises." With heavy breaths, they stepped out into the unknown. The air was thick with uncertainty, each of their hearts thumping in sync as they silently moved through the back alleys. Jason took point, scanning for any signs of movement, hyper-aware of the dangers lurking nearby. Mark reached out, grabbing Jason's arm. "What if we encounter someone? What if it's hostile?" he whispered, concern clouding his eyes. "Stay calm," Jason replied, his voice steady. "Stick together, and we'll figure it out as we go." The struggle to return to safety quickly morphed into a test of resilience for the trio. The remnants of consumer life haunted them as they navigated rubble-strewn paths, each corner holding memories of what once was. Forged in the fires of past decisions, Jason could feel the weight of Mark and Jamie's trust pressing upon him. As they approached the looming facade of the CDC, the reality of their world settled heavily over them. Each tested step carried with it the possibility of danger, but also the hope of renewed safety. The shadows grew longer, underscoring the fragile balance they were trying to maintain, a balance between finding help and clinging to their last remnants of hope in this rapidly changing world. With unwavering determination, Jason took a deep breath and prepared to face whatever awaited them inside the headquarters of the CDC, both steeling himself for the chaos and loss that accompanied their journey and ready to fight for their chance at survival.